Today we're going to be discussing an exclusive story that Shabir did, which we published in the morning. It's called How the VHP and the BJP Exploited a Teenager on Deathbed in Tamil Nadu. This is about the death of a teenager. Her name was Lavanya. She died in January 2022. Now, across all states, over the last decades, we have seen how the Sangh Parivar and the BJP pick up a particular issue, they communalize it, they try to create narratives around it. This is perhaps for the first time that an issue was picked up in Tamil Nadu, and the BJP, the VHP, the RSS, the ABVP, everyone came together to communalize the death of Lavanya. After her death, a video was released by the BJP Tamil Nadu President K. Annamalai on his social media handles. In this 47-second video, Lavanya could be seen saying that a nun who was there in her hostel had asked her parents 2 years ago to make her convert to Christianity. The entire narrative was that she had died because the nuns in her school had asked her to be converted. Now, Shabir's story today is a CBI charge sheet on the case, which has found that there was no conversion angle to her death, that the VHP had actually gone inside her hospital room and shot that video. Joining me today to talk about the CBI's findings in the suicide of 17-year-old Lavanya in Tamil Nadu is Sudipta Mondal from Bengaluru and my colleague Shabir Ahmed from Chennai, who did that story for us. I'll straight go to Shabir. Shabir, tell us what your story is all about.
So the incident happened in January 2022 when a 12th standard student studying at a Christian institution in Maikalpatti in Thanjavur district, she died by suicide and her death became a big campaign for the right wing, that they alleged that there was rampant forced conversions in Tamil Nadu. So the CBI investigation has found that there was no, the allegation of forced conversion could not be established, and the CBI has also given a lot of details about what exactly happened in the hospital, because there were conflicting reports that we were getting in from the state government, from the police, and also from the BJP and VHP sources at that time. But the charge sheet clearly lays out what exactly happened at the hospital. When the girl was on her deathbed, that was when the parents were quite anxious. They wanted to know what exactly the girl told the judicial magistrate when her statement was recorded by Thanjavur Judicial Magistrate 1. And that's when they reached out to one of their friends, and the friends got in touch with Muthuvel, the local VHP leader, and he came to the hospital ward and he saw the girl and he shot the video, the 47-second video that we are talking about. So that is where the girl mentioned something about a nun who approached her parents 2 years ago saying that, whether they are willing to convert her to Christianity and they will take care of her studies and they'll take care of her. So that 47-second video became, the campaign material for the right wing, and that's when BJP, VHP, ABVP and all these right wing groups started this campaign saying there is rampant forced conversions in Tamil Nadu.
Shabir,
the CBI has done a meticulous investigation.
Shabir, let me interrupt you there. So for those watching, they may be confused that if there is a 47-second video in which the child has actually said this, then what is wrong? Now the issue is that perhaps a nun did tell the parents in 2020 that why don't you convert the child to Christianity? But she dies in 2022 for different reasons. And that reason was harassment by another nun in the same hostel who made her do administrative work. So she has told the police multiple times. She told the magistrate, the dying declaration also is there, in which she says very clearly that a nun named Sagaya Mary was responsible for harassing her. She made her do a lot of work in the hostel for which she could not concentrate in her studies, and therefore she wanted to die by suicide. So there is the video that Muthuvel actually shot. If you read Shabir's story, he clearly explains the first video that Muthuvel shoots is a 2-minute and 24-second video in which Lavanya does not make any disclosure about the conversion. She talks about Sagaya Mary. She says that Sagaya Mary harassed me, which is why I chose to die by suicide, or I tried to attempt suicide. And then when Muthuvel does not get what he wants, he actually goes back inside the hospital room, shoots a video again in which perhaps she is made to recount this incident from 2 years ago. You have met Muthuvel, right? When you were in Ariyadur. What were your impressions about this man?
The influence that he wielded. I suppose that for me was the biggest standout, and we both of you described in great detail how this video was shot. this question actually starts from, this was a medical legal case. There's a girl on her deathbed in that hospital ward, and here a man waltzes in, not once but twice. When first time he comes in, he doesn't get what he wants, and in the longer video, in fact, you've seen all of us have seen the video. He's clearly trying to tutor her and nudge her in a certain direction, almost, So this influence, where it came from, I'd filed a story back then, I'd visited Ariyalur and this entire region, Dhanya. Shabir also, of course, I'm sure can tell us more about that. This Trichy, Ariyalur, Thanjavur belt, and how it has seen a series of, up until that point, I don't know what has happened since, but up until that point, there's Muthuvel and his gang. There are 2-3 other people in that group, in the Vishwa Hindu Parishad, very militant, very stormtrooper-like, which means that they would land up on the ground, suddenly catch some pastor somewhere, accuse them of, forcible conversions, or even if that were not to be the case, there was one case where a pastor was preaching on a street corner. These people make him chant Jai Shri Ram and put vermilion on his forehead. Now for me, that was a bit of a surprise, that we believe that Tamil Nadu is different, and on the ground, this level of impunity, Dhanya.
But the attack on Christian missionaries is there very much in Tamil Nadu. I want to pick up one point which Sudipta pointed out, Shabir, and quickly come to you. He said how this girl, Lavanya, is admitted in the medical college, and this man simply walks inside the hospital room and he records the video. And he's not the only one, right? There's also a Hindu Munani guy who recorded the video.
Yes, Dhanya, there was some kind of a competition between different right-wing groups is what I understand, because when the issue cropped up, when people got to know that a girl has attempted suicide in Thanjavur, that's when the ABVP gets very active. The ABVP launches a campaign, the ABVP sends a delegation, and the local VHP gets activated, and then there is this Hindu Munani that gets activated, and all these groups were trying to get something out of that particular issue, because they want to claim credit. They want to claim credit for raising this issue, because this was the first time a serious charge with this magnitude of this scale is being raised in Tamil Nadu, where they say that a girl was a girl died by suicide because she was forced to convert into Christianity. So there are 2 videos that were shot. One was shot by Muthuvel, the other one was shot by Esan Sigam, who is from Hindu Munani, which in all the videos that have been shot by the police, the statements that were recorded by the police, the statement that was recorded by the judicial magistrate, the statement that was recorded by the child welfare officer, in all of the statements, the girl talks about the kind of harassment that she had faced at the school in the hands of the warden. But she never mentioned anything about forced conversions. It was Muthuvel's video, the 47-second video, in which Muthuvel is asking her questions and the girl is responding. And the charge sheet also clearly mentions one thing, Dhanya, that the angle of forced conversion, that Raquel Mary, a sister, asked Lavanya's parents to allow her to convert to Christianity. So this was first proposed by Lavanya's parents. Lavanya did not tell this to the police. Lavanya did not tell this to the child welfare officer. Lavanya did not tell this to the judicial magistrate. It was the parents who first said this to one of their friends, and that's when Muthuvel picked this up and made this into a full-blown communal campaign.
So basically, there is a child who's lying on deathbed, and in fact, I was also reading the charge sheet. It says that the doctor said that her organs were failing, 85% have failed. That's the time when the VHP and the Hindu Munani guys actually go inside the hospital bed. From what you said, Sudipto, they have done multiple things before that, right? This is perhaps one of the first successful campaigns, you could say, for them. Now, of course, we know that it was completely false.
Yes, and in fact, I wanted to take Shabir back to a particular thing. When I went reporting to Ariyalur, you said I should go back into the village where the girl comes from, and meet the parents, and you helped me with some sources over there. So I landed up in the village, and what do I find? That there is a very how do I put it? Very tightly knit Hindutva formation in the village, which is being organized in the name of some Vivekananda Youth Sangha and all of that. So this, Shabir talked about how the parents are the ones who brought up this conversion angle. And when I went to the ground, I realized that this was not something that just sprung up in their head all of a sudden, that it was induced also by that group of young boys who were there. This network is something that I think played a very big role, that there is somebody in town and there is somebody at the village, this last mile connectivity, if you want to call it that, I think it's time now for us to talk also about the role of that one person. See, now there have been many attacks. Why did this attack get that much prominence? Because this time there was an amplifier, there was a firebrand Hindutva voice in the state who had national resonance. Annamalai's role in this entire thing.
I didn't guess who it was till he said the name. Okay, yes. Annamalai actually took this up in a big scale, and I really suggest you should go read Shabir's story. And before we go further into this conversation, let me remind everybody watching that the News Minute is an ad-free, sponsor-free platform. That's the reason why we can talk about any government, any entity, any organization, any corporate without fear. But all that is not possible. You can't see me, Sudipto, Shabir in conversation if you as readers do not fund our work. So do become subscribers, do enable our work. The thing I want to ask you, Shabir, is that from what Sudipto was saying, there was a chain, right? Annamalai took it up, but it did not stop with that. In fact, your story talks about how the NCPCR, how the national media took it up, which is also why you will not see a discussion on this on the Hindi and English TV channels.
They will never have a discussion, Danya, because this, as far as the national media is concerned, forced conversions happened in Tamil Nadu. It's truth. And that's the narrative that the national television channels were peddling at that point in time. In fact, there were debates, multiple debates, day in and day out. And in fact, you remember this story went on for days. This issue was kept alive in the national media and also the local media. There were also local TV channels that were like trying to cover the story. But the national media channels gave that communal spin because it clearly, fits their agenda. It clearly fits their bill. So there were multiple debates that happened. In fact, they had sent multiple reporters to Thanjavur and Ariyalur to cover the story. At one point in time, the BJP realized that there is some huge mistake that they have committed. And that's when, some leaders from the local BJP, because Annamalai did not realize, Annamalai did not discuss about this issue with any of them, any of the local leaders. He straight went ahead, tweeted that video and alleged that there is forced conversion and this girl died by suicide because of this. And after that, when things started crumbling, when the narrative started crumbling, because on the other hand, the Tamil Nadu government, the police was also giving out a lot of information. There were a lot of inconsistencies. But Annamalai tried to brush it aside because he launched an agitation. There was a protest that he had held in Valluvar Kottam. Then there were several campaigns that were launched across Tamil Nadu. The ABVP was, organizing campaigns in all these campuses. In fact, if you remember the first anniversary or the second anniversary, campaigns were launched in JNU. Campaigns were launched in different colleges across different universities across the country, saying Lavanya's case is something that ABVP had taken it up and we should follow this case. So that is the level of propaganda that they had planned with this case. So Annamalai's role became extremely important because whatever Annamalai said, the national media carried. They never questioned. And in fact, all the inconsistencies in this story or in this issue were never picked up by the national media. And that is why still the national media believes that forced conversions are rampant, it's a curse, and it's happening in Tamil Nadu.
Yeah. Sudipto?
No, I was just trying to just point to the other thing that they did, which is they trolled our reporters a lot, starting with Shabir himself, Danya, the entire this troll ecosystem out there, while on one side they had these media outlets who were amplifying their voices, on the other hand they were going after us and saying some nasty things.
No, I still remember the coverage. I in fact told everybody we have to be careful because there is a video like this. We are not saying that forced conversions have never taken place anywhere, that it's a zero possibility, right? So what if there was a possibility? So I said we will cover it sensitively, but as we reached the ground, we realized that this was a twisted narrative. Now I want to come back. So the CBI, after 2 years of Tamil Nadu teenager Lavanya's death, has found that there was no forced conversion to Christianity. It was because of harassment by a nun in her school that she died by suicide. The BJP and the Sangh Parivar had used this, but I want to come back to what the national media did at that time. When I was a reporter, I remember my editor, most people who know me knows who my editor was. He used to tell me, and I'm not even kidding you, I remember there was a riot in Shimoga at that time, and there was a riot in one of the places in Bangalore, and he told me that we will not do any lives because if TV cameras go there and do lives, we actually amplify what is happening on the ground. So unless more than 2 or 3 people are killed and our intervention is needed, if the police is doing their job, then we will not go and add to the problem. This is exactly what he told me, and I've always believed that it's important that we actually do not add to the din as reporters, that we allow the law machinery to take, to do its own job. And if it does not work, then we go in and report, right? We are there, but we don't do lives continuously. Look at how things have changed. I mean, instead of moderating peace of some sort, the national media is the one which kept saying what is happening. In fact, I was watching some of those clips from 2022 now. Things have gone from bad to worse. Can it really become any more worse?
Well, I mean, things have also gotten better, no, Lavanya. I mean, I don't really, I mean, of course, I think our reporters did quite a
But how has it become better for national media?
For national media, I think the pressure is created by us. If you see, there is a course correction, at least in the print. After our reports came out, I do distinctly remember that there was a slight,
but newspapers always have been more logical.
Not on that occasion. On that occasion, there was also this newspaper frenzy and things like that, and there were these half-baked reports that are coming out. And I think that's where we stand out, because yes, of course, we don't have a reporter in Ariyalur or in Thanjavur or in Trichy. So sometimes our reporters land up a little late. But like they say in Tamil Nadu, late vandalo latest varum, and it is okay to take a little bit of time, and that is what our reporters, not just this one, like, even in Kerala, so many incidents happened, the most recent being the Hema Commission report, and how there was this one step back and how it was reported with depth.
No, I mean, I don't share Sudeep's optimism at all, because let's look at what happened 2-3 days ago in Bengaluru. There's a woman who's killed. Her name is Mahalakshmi. Her body parts are discovered from a fridge in her house, and her husband tells a newspaper that there is a man called Ashraf who is her friend and he suspects her. Nobody asks the police. They run the story saying Ashraf is the suspect. Now, newspapers have run the story, television channels have run the story. Immediately, the right-wing ecosystem has picked it up. They are comparing it to Shraddha Walker's death, and they're saying that, oh, if you have Muslim friends, this is what happened to you. So, I really don't think that they have at all changed. Maybe they toned down a bit after the elections.
Danya, the point is, the pattern is the same. They have a same format. It changes from state to state, depends on the issue. So that's how it is. That's how it works. Because in Lavanya's case, I was there on the ground. I went to Ariyalur. I was there in Maikalpatti. I was there in Vadigapalayam, in Lavanya's village, when the BJP delegation walked in. In fact, when I was in Maikalpatti, I spoke to the local BJP leaders. The local BJP leader who is part of the minority Mocha. He is the district president who resides in Maikalpatti. I went and I asked him. I spoke to him and he told me that, there is no case of forced conversions in that school. He has never heard it. He studied in that school. It's a 100-year-old educational institution. He says that it has not happened. It has not happened. This is the first time we are hearing something like this. In fact, people who are living in that village, particularly from the Hindu community, they came forward and they told us that there is no complaint of this sort against the school. So the locals clearly knew what exactly was happening. If you remember the name Maikalpatti, people wanted to go after that. People were tweeting about it. So how did this village in Tamil Nadu, which has temples and all of it, the name of the village has been changed as Maikalpatti. It's a curious case. In fact, the High Court judge himself, mentioned about that in his order. It's a curious case that how come a village in Tamil Nadu has been changed, the name of the village has been changed as Maikalpatti and all of it. So there was a clear pattern. They had everything on their side to create this narrative. They had the media, they had the social media trolls, they had the machinery, the men and machinery to record these videos, to propagate these videos, to carry out their agenda. And then at the end of the day, they come and sit on the road and they say that they are protesting for this. In fact, Annamalai wanted anti-conversion law to be enacted in Tamil Nadu.
That's something, of course, we already have in Karnataka, but the Congress government which came to power saying that we'll repeal it did not do it. That's another problem. So I just want to quickly tell everyone, do go read the story. It's on the main page of the News Minute. One thing which Shabir said now, which I remembered as part of the story, is that the CBI actually went beyond their call, I think. They looked at the transfer certificates of the students from 2010 of this school, which is almost 22 years of transfer certificates. And then they said that nobody has converted.
Not even a single student.
Yeah. And this school has around 65% of Hindus and I think 30% of Christians. Yes.
Conspiracy theory. Okay, now this is the CBI, the agency which the courts have often described as the caged parrot.
And how can the News Minute, which normally does not believe the CBI this time?
I have a conspiracy theory, that's why. Okay, which is that, see, the BJP and the way it's mobilizing in Tamil Nadu also shows very strong trends towards mobilizing Christians, right? On one side, so, and this is again conspiracy theory, so therefore it's not fully formed. But if you look at this Muthuvel character's own journey, he's a person who's a kind of a part apart, in the sense that some of his activities in the past have landed him in jail. Back then he was in the BJP. Because of that attack or whatever that he was involved in, he gets sacked from the BJP and then he becomes part of the VHP. Now, the BJP's mobilization, if you see, has many prominent Christian characters from that region. And that for me is surprising, and therefore I feel that, there is some, on one side, of course, there is this militancy towards Christians and Christian conversions and all of that is an issue. But on the other side, the BJP is also playing this kind of politics where they are trying to get the Christian vote against the...
I don't know. I would not subscribe to the conspiracy theory for one simple thing. Because the Christian population is not going to easily forget or forgive what the BJP did, simply because the CBI said so, right? You have subjected them to this much of scrutiny in the last 2 years. In fact, the CBI report becomes a weapon for the Christians to now tell the BJP boss, you can't play this politics with us anymore.
Yes and no, because the Christian leadership, the church leadership, see Haritha's story, if you remember about this Chris Sanghis and things like that, the network of the Christian church and its network of influence goes right up to the top, So that is just something I'm putting out there. That is not.
But I would like to maintain that's still a very Kerala phenomenon where you have the Syrian Christian. The word he used, Chris Sanghis. That's another story you should read. These are Christians who identify themselves as Sanghis. It's not a term that we made. They call themselves Chris Sanghis and their profiles will say that. So my colleague Haritha John from Kerala had this long story about Chris Sanghis. Yes.
Just the point that the Catholic establishment in India is led by people from certain caste backgrounds from a certain region, which is you're looking at the Konkan coast, the Malabar coast, So these are the two places. So you'll find Syrians, Mangaloreans, Goans in the leadership of the church, and these are people who have traditionally been very, very bipartisan on the question of Hindutva. In Mangalore, where I was posted, I often saw the church leaders, not allying, but standing alongside the Sangh in opposition to the Muslims, So therefore, I'm just putting that out there. I don't know if it's connected directly to this story, but I'm very surprised that the CBI actually did its job, because it only goes to vindicate what we had already done. What it has found is something we had already reported.
So I want to wrap this up. To everyone watching the discussion, remember, most of the newspapers did break the story a week ago that the CBI found that there was no conversion angle. But Shabir felt that it's not enough that we close the story with one line, right? That the CBI found this. If this narrative has gone on for so long, then we have to have a detailed story, which is why he got that charge sheet. It's a 66-page charge sheet. It's a really detailed story. It's not behind a paywall this time. It's a login story where you can just freely log in through your Google account or whatever account and read it. So do that. Thank you, Shabir, for that story. And to everybody watching, again, become subscribers. That's the only way that we can do our journalism without fear or without favor. Thank you.